A youth group was playing a game where the leader was dressed up in full camo gear, including face paint, and he was hiding up in a tree. He saw two girls coming that he thought was from his youth group, so he jumped out of the tree, grabbed them by the shoulders, and said, "I got you, girls." They turned around, screamed, and it was at that moment he realized that they were not part of his youth group. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Youth Group Chronicles. Joining me in the studio today, Pastor Buddy Jenkins.
What's good, y'all?
And back for, what is this, round like 8 or 9, I think, at this point?
Something like that.
Pastor Cole Clark. Actually, you know what? Your title has changed since you have been on the show. It is now Pastor Cole. Took over the youth ministry at our church, which is awesome. And figured it would be fitting to have you back on the show.
Ironic.
We are also Instagram Live. What's up, everybody there? Glad to have you here tonight. We're going to record some Youth Group Chronicles, the crazy, the wild, the absurd stories from youth ministry. So let's kick this off. This is an email submission from Melissa. Melissa said, "One of my funniest youth group fails was when we were hosting a worship night for a missions organization, and we had printed out small flyers to distribute to the community. We had the idea to have some of our youth group help write Bible verses on the backs of these flyers. Thankfully, though, we looked through some of the flyers before we passed them out, because these were younger students, and the first verse I saw was Revelation 20:15, which reads, "And if anyone's name is not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire." True, yes. Encouraging, not so much. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, though, because they were sticking with the theme of our ministry, which is called the flame. But this was also the last time the students helped, pass out some flyers.
Yo, one, youth group called the flame. The flame. That's crazy. But two, I remember when we went flyering for Hope Night, and I forgot where we're at, but we went flying for Hope Night. And flying is not always like the funnest thing to do. So Cole was like, "Listen, whoever flyers the most, he's like, I'll get them like Subway or McDonald's or something like that." So we go and we like let them, which was a terrible idea. We let them, like, some of them go off like by themselves, like into these apartment complexes. Bro, we're like going around like, they're like, "Yeah, I'm all done. We're like, wow, that was like a lot of flyers. We're getting like 50 flyers a piece. They're like, "Yeah, we're all done. Bro, we're like backtracking. We see like flyers blowing in the wind, flyers just in the bushes, flyers just all on these people's doors. Bro, we're like,
yo, that same night, I brought my small group kids to help flyer.
Oh, were you there?
I was there. Yeah. I was literally there. And these kids are wild. And they did not want to be there.
No.
So I was just like, "Hey, like, let's get these out." I handed them like a stack of flyers, and they bolted, like you said. And I'm like, "Okay." So they disappear.
Real excited.
And again, I'm walking down the street behind them. I see like clumps, probably like 15 door hangers on each house. And then they come back, "We're done." And I'm like, again, like you said, how do they get done so fast? These youth group kids flying. And
I got an email from that.
Cutting corners.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got an email from a person.
The city?
It was from one of the neighbors. They got the Hope Night thing and they found our social media, and they were like bugging out. They were like, "You could have just gave me one. I would have got the hint." There was 15 flyers scattered across my doorstep. They were tight about it.
Anything from McDonald's.
But honestly, I was a little scared that Bible verse was going to be a Song of Solomon. That would have just.
I thought it was stories like that, but that would be funny.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a Song of Solomon.
I feel like the Lake of Fire is now better than a Song of Solomon.
Oh yeah. Would you rather have a Lake of Fire verse or a Song of Solomon verse?
Yeah, honestly,
I feel like there's a lot of out of pocket verses that could have made it onto the back of that card.
Facts.
Either way.
For sure.
This is a story from Jeremy. Jeremy said, "A youth group was playing a game where the leader was dressed up in full camo gear, including face paint, and he was hiding up in a tree. He saw two girls coming that he thought was from his youth group, so he jumped out of the tree, grabbed them by the shoulders, and said, 'I got you, girls.' They turned around, screamed, and it was at that moment he realized that they were not part of his youth group."
Dude, my man out here, bro. Honestly, bro, listen. What if 50% of all these bad church interactions these people are having are really just like common mistakes? Like, that's a news title right there.
Yeah, that's
Youth
crazy.
kid jumps out tree, jumps out and tries to abduct 2 young women.
2 young women.
That's crazy.
Bro, that's what I don't play games like that because I'm like, listen, it's too much of a chance for this to mess up, and if it does, I'm just gonna crawl into the hole and die. So I'm just gonna take that out. Yeah, stuff like that is crazy.
This is a plug. It just came up on my notifications, but YouTube Shorts, the people that comment just straight up violate.
Like on the shorts.
Like they just say crazy stuff.
I mean we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I have not seen the just outright terrible comments on any of those social medias that I have on YouTube. Like YouTube is straight up different. I have to go through and delete stuff because I'm like, I can't let that person see that.
Oh, they say like crazy,
like crazy,
because the algorithm's different.
Out of your mind stuff. I would never repeat some of the things I've seen on there. That's how crazy YouTube is.
My YouTube algorithm, it'd be like there'd be comments on, I'll see a crazy video and look at the comments and it'll be like, who else YouTube algorithm brought them here and they have no idea why. It'd just be like a bunch of
it's the most
people.
Random
they said
people
reels, TikToks, we got to get ours. When we don't care about the battle. We don't care about what happens. People comment whatever. We got to get the shorts out there. That's crazy.
So that is a plug for Youth Group Chronicles on YouTube, guys. We have new episodes going up.
Check that out.
This is a story from Ryan. Many years ago, when I was a student in youth group, I had a friend who had a really goofy personality and was also into extreme sports. One time, we had to get together for youth group, and we had a bonfire going. Well, this friend randomly decided that he was going to jump over the bonfire dramatically for some fun. As he started to sprint toward the fire, he tripped and proceeded to slide through the fire like a slip and slide, causing embers to fly everywhere, including into his pants.
Ooh.
He had enough momentum to slide all the way through said fire, which was impressive in itself. But afterwards, you could literally see burn holes in his clothing.
Dude, this man did a Uno reverse on the slip and slide, man. And he said, bump the water. Give me the fire.
That's crazy.
Dude.
Dang. See, bro, that's, again, I don't be taking no risks like that. Like,
it's always the kids that show off.
Yes.
Always
all
the kids that show off.
Like, I don't think I've never had anything crazy like that happen to me. Like, I've never broken a bone or anything like that because I'm just not willing to, like, take the risk. I don't care how cool it might look. I'm just not willing to do it.
When I was like 10 years old, I was really, really good on rollerblades. And I can't remember if I've shared this story on here, but I was at youth camp and I lived at the camp. So I felt like a hot shot, 1, for living there.
Yeah.
And 2, I was like good on rollerblades. And there was half court. You know, they have like the circle around half court. It's probably 6 feet wide in some basketball courts. Well, I was convinced that I could jump from one line to the other. And I was doing it over and over. So it's probably like a 6-foot jump on rollerblades. Yeah. And I'm a kid. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put a sneaker on each side.
Yeah.
So like people will know that I'm really jumping. I did it twice. And by this time, probably 50, 60 kids are gathered around in the gym because, like, you know, news spreads.
They're like, oh, snap.
And so I get to one end and I go, but I jump too late. And my skate catches on the sneaker and I just face plant on the concrete in front of all these kids. And you just hear like from my skin, like, and it's dead silent. Dead silent. Probably the most humbling experience in my life.
He was up there. All the kids were like, yo, he's the coolest. And the moment they said, oh, nah, he's whack. He's whack.
It's a high-risk,
high-reward game.
This is from someone that I won't name. But during our new youth pastor's second month on the job, a full 25 kids left youth group and walked down into town to watch a kid jump another kid who had been running his mouth about his girlfriend. The youth pastor was totally unaware of this until a student noticed an hour later.
Oh my! I would say, out of all the stories I've heard so far, this one probably hits the closest to home.
Because it would happen.
Yes,
this is reminding me.
If not would, already has.
Matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, I'm at group. I got my boys.
Gosh.
They're my riders.
I want to hear what
happened.
happened.
All right, they're listen. The group we had, the group that we have built up there is from our inner city, and I love them. Actually, one of them is Buddy's brother. I love him a lot. So we pick these kids up from group. We meet at this park across town. So this is like, you know, the better side of town. We're chilling there, having a great night. Cookout, fire, it's phenomenal. We're sitting there playing some basketball. Then all of a sudden, I see like 7 of our boys migrate across the park and leave the game. And I'm like, no way they're like fiending to smoke that much. Like, I'm thinking they're going to smoke.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, I'm like, none of that, like whatever. Then like they disappear from my sight. It's dark out. Like 2 minutes later, this kid comes running up with his mouth bleeding. I'm like, bro, what's good?
Yeah.
Blood, screaming. I'm like, what? Well, turns out one of the boys egged the house of this girl that was being mean to his girlfriend, and that was the brother of one of the group kids.
Yeah.
So on their way to group, this is how crazy the timing is. They didn't know that other boy was at group. And on their way to group, he goes, I found out who it was. We caught him on the Ring camera. And that boy was gone all like group playing football somewhere. And he started walking up and they're like,
that's him.
No way. There he is. And they jumped him at group.
At group.
Yeah.
Listen, that's crazy.
Yeah, stuff like that hits. Like, I remember growing up and going through youth group, like Cole said, like they would send buses to like where I live, which is like inner city, and like people legit where they would be like, and it was called Rage at the time. They're like, we're gonna go to Rage, but after we're gonna fight. Like people were going like.
Did the name have anything to do with that? I always wondered why they named it Rage.
So this is the crazy thing. So I'll tell you, the last day it was called Rage. It's called Upper Now, but it used to be called Rage, which it was an acronym for, what was it? Radically Anointed Godly Encounters. Crazy name. So it's called Rage. And I remember it was one of the first nights that our youth pastors, Pastor Cody and Minnie, they weren't there. They like went on vacation. Yeah. So it was like just all the leaders. They were like watching, like pretty much running the service, stuff like that. And we went, and it was like cool. It was like a great time. Service is over, right? Everyone's about to leave. Massive fight breaks out. Bunch of people fighting. Everyone's trying to break stuff up. I'm just like, bro. I'm looking back on the story. I'm like, I imagine it's like myself, and I'm like looking onto like a battlefield, and it's just fire and bodies everywhere.
And it wasn't like there was 10 kids either.
No.
Like
it's pretty big youth group.
Yeah, I think that night it was like 120, 125 like
oh my
of kids, and mind you, it's like 80% of them like everyone's huddled around, everyone's fighting. I'm like, bro, Pastor Cody's gonna come back and he's gonna kill us. They came back. We did not have youth group that next week. We took a week off. We came back. Yeah, this is not called Rage anymore. This is Uproar. So that was the last time.
The complete rebrand at that point.
Complete rebrand, which was, made sense.
Dang, me and Buddy are doing good on our youth group right now. Yeah, that's not our youth ministry. Disclaimer, that's not from our church. Yeah. Both stories.
All stories.
Lauren on Instagram Live said, love the podcast. Have been binging it for the past couple weeks. Fine. That is awesome. Thank you so much. There was also another one here. This is from Adrian. He said, can you give a birthday shout out to my homie Anthony? We are huge fans. Happy birthday, Anthony.
Shout out, Anthony.
Thanks for listening, guys. Someone asked where they can send in stories. If you're listening to this or you are on Instagram Live, email us at ygchronicles@gmail.com and you might get your story featured on the show. If you send us a DM, it might get lost. It's a little tough to keep up with like a bunch of different platforms if you're sending stuff in. So the best place to go would be to email it to us. And speaking of emails, this is an email from Dalton. Dalton said, my most embarrassing youth ministry moment happened when I was in 9th grade. We were on our way to camp and stopped for lunch, and we were getting ready to leave. Everyone was getting their cups refilled to take into the van. The youth pastor's son came up to me and said that he would refill my drink for me. I thought he was just being nice, so I let him do it. Well, about an hour into the drive, my stomach started hurting really bad. I told the youth pastor that we had to stop soon, so we stopped at a rest stop, and I used the bathroom, and we went on our way. Then 30 minutes later, I said we had to stop again. So we stopped, I used the bathroom, then we went on. When we got to the church camp, I darted to the bathroom, and I was in the bathroom 4 to 5 times the next 3 days. Then on the 3rd day, I was drinking from my water bottle, and I noticed a wet, powdery substance in the bottom of it.
No, they didn't.
It turns out the youth pastor's son was crushing up laxative pills and putting them in my water for 3 days straight.
That's illegal. That's Is that not illegal?
I feel like that's illegal.
Is that not jail time?
His butt was burning.
Listen,
bro, for 4 days.
Listen.
What?
Listen, someone doing that to me, one of us is going to jail.
Church kids be evil though.
Bro,
church kids are on a different type of timing.
I expect nothing less from the pastor's kid.
One of us is going to jail. Either I'm going or you're going. One of us is going to jail.
Yo, church kids are on different timing.
That's crazy.
Pastor's kids.
Listen to this. He said when they got back, he I guess they found out that it was the kid. The pastor's son said that a lady in the church had given them to him to prank the youth pastor. But the kid chickened out and just did it to his friend instead.
Wow.
I would have been so mad.
Bro.
I would have turned that church upside down.
Yo.
Well, listen. Thankfully, the white powdery substance at the bottom was laxatives and not anything else.
It could have been that really would have been jail time.
Wait, hold it. Was it like... Was he spiking it every day, or was
That's what he said. He started at the restaurant, and then he just kept going.
He just kept slipping them in. Pause.
Dude, I was going to say, that's like the most elongated time to drink a bottle of water, like over 4 days.
See. Oh, bruh. That's crazy. I don't even know how to react to that.
Kept getting them.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do either.
That's the craziest L I've
I
ever
would
heard.
not be happy.
I'd
go straight to the pastor.
I need a salary raise. Actually was probably happy because it was supposed to happen to him.
Oh, yeah.
So he was probably just
that's
like,
right.
oh, bro, that sucks, man. Dang.
He was the scapegoat.
Thanks for taking one for the team.
He was the whipping boy.
This is a story from Jonathan. Jonathan said, 1 year for our youth group Christmas party, we had a drinking competition with eggnog. Turns out, though, the eggnog had alcohol. So I quickly took the carton home and threw it out so no one would ever know.
Bro.
Wait.
Alcoholic eggnog. Drink. At first, I'm like, oh, he said drinking. Oh, he just means a drink. But no. Plot twist. They was really getting twisted.
These kids were wasted because it was a competition.
Yeah,
they had to have been
they're hammered.
slammed.
Yeah, they're just gone. How do you not? Then how do you not know?
Hammered.
Like, your kid comes home and they're just wasted. Like, oh, what
How
happened?
does that
we had eggnog drinking competition.
I'm lost. Little
and how
Timmy.
do you like? How do you? There's so many questions,
Bro, little
like,
Timmy, man.
How did you buy that? You most of the time have to get ID'd for alcohol stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Sam's like, I've never drunk alcohol.
Nah, bro, you get ID. Something's off here. This is low key an experiment. He thought I accidentally bought alcoholic eggnog on accident and got my kids twisted. Little Timmy out here blasted, going home talking about the spirit touched me tonight, mom. It started happening during the game.
Instagram live, they're just like, yeah, fired right now.
Yeah.
No, legit.
We're on you, bucko.
Ended.
The fact that they hit it is even worse.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
Honestly, what do you do though?
Yo, I'd be terrified.
What are you gonna say? Are you gonna call the parents?
Yeah.
If they didn't find out, what are you gonna do?
That's true. Yeah.
Are you gonna bring it up?
My
pastor's watching this real close right now to make sure I don't say something stupid.
Yeah.
I've never spiked our kids ever. Never will.
Never will.
Mm-mm.
Not even laxatives.
This is a story from Ben. Ben said, one of my funniest youth ministry stories was when a student came in from the lobby and asked, why did the clown just get arrested? I thought it was a setup for a joke, so I said, I don't know. Why? He replied, no, like a clown literally just got taken out in handcuffs in our lobby. So I made my way to the lobby where I found out that a former student had swung by to make an unexpected visit. And the officer we had on campus recognized him from a warrant that they had out.
Ooh.
For, I guess it was credit card fraud and identity theft. So one of our leaders asked the student to come around the corner, and then the officer arrested him right there. The officer frisked him, and he found a scary clown mask in the baggy pants of this kid's pocket. The student said, hey, this is really embarrassing for me. Is there anything you can do to hide my face so my friends don't see me getting arrested? The officer said, sure, and popped the mask onto his head, and then they left through the lobby to the entertainment of 50 teens.
Bro.
Honestly, that ended kind of wholesome. Honestly, that ended kind of wholesome. Even though he got snitched on, he got set up. That's a whole movie plot. Bro. I came to my church to revisit, got set up, Then they didn't let me go out in humility.
Dang. Now this kid.
Of all things, he's gonna pop on his head though.
This kid's moving different though. Credit card fraud.
Yeah, that's some scammer
What do you have?
stuff.
What do they call those? Is it a skimmer?
A scammer.
A scammer?
When they use I think
What's
it's
it called
like
on the credit card machine? What is that called?
I might be a skimmer or something like that.
I could be
Bro,
totally
That
wrong.
whole
Studying.
process is crazy. You could order like blank
Yeah.
cards, and then they have like the reader, and then you can transfer.
Yeah,
all
there's
the,
like gas stations can put. I'm probably telling people how to do it, but they basically put like
the
a fake reader. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it somehow
I
gets you.
always
put it
jingle
on-
them things now.
Yeah.
Pause.
That's that's crazy. It's even crazier that Sam and Buddy have been studying how to do credit card fraud.
It was
That's
a
crazy.
series on
Listen,
TikTok.
back
I
in
don't know.
the
I thought it was
day-
interesting.
Before I say back in the day, I've thought about a few things. I thought about a few things. What it was about.
That kid was finessing.
If you guys have stories, ygchronicles@gmail.com. This is another story from Ben. He said, one of my craziest youth ministry fails is when we did a donut eating competition and someone suggested to add the flair of having them wear fake beards because apparently one of the Duck Dynasty guys ate a lot of donuts during like a recent episode at the time. One contestant, which was a student about 6'4", 300 pounds, began to choke on stage because he wasn't chewing and he was getting the fake beard tangled in with the donuts. all on the stage in front of an entire youth group. So kid number 1 incorrectly tried to give him a Heimlich, but the contestant was about 100 pounds heavier than him. Kid number 2 tried to have him lay down and give him mouth to mouth until the whole room just shouted for him to stop. Then a student who was a lifeguard ran up on stage, sat him up, slapped him on the back really hard, and a soul-ripping burp echoed through the auditorium, and a 3-inch donut hair sausage wetly flopped onto the stage.
Pause. That's crazy, bro.
Hold on.
Tragic. Honestly, that just went tragically. How could you have planned for that? We've done
Like you
stupider
didn't
games.
notice that you were eating the hair?
He was just in the
Bro,
in the zone, bro.
whatever the prize for that, he was
Just
like,
give
bro,
it to him right now.
He's like, bro, I'm trying to get this. Dang, bro, and the kid trying to give him.
He was in flow
It took
state.
3 people. 3 people.
They all
Were
tried.
they powdered?
They had to be.
They
I
had
don't
to
know
be.
what.
They
Oh,
had
so
to
it'd
be.
been really
the powder,
dry.
yeah, the dry
Dry
donut,
and then
plus
just
the
fake hair.
And then just
Dad.
kissing him. Damn. Yeah. And then just kissing like this dude with fake hair.
That's crazy.
Just mouth
Imagine the
to-
kid going home. Yo, mom,
I'm questioning that kid.
at youth group, a kid almost died. Someone
Someone-
almost got kissed.
Someone in Instagram Live was like, youth group just watching this kid die at this point.
Yeah, yo, they're just like
Quite literally.
These stories are
crazy.
getting crazy.
We'll close with this one. This is a story from Dustin. Dustin said, my worst youth ministry fail was when I showed a video on the persecution of the Roman church during Paul's time. I spent time editing about 30 seconds out of the video because it was incredibly graphic. We're talking like women and children being eaten by lions kind of graphic.
Oh, snap.
Unfortunately, though, I accidentally uploaded the unedited version and showed it to my entire youth group. It was so bad, I literally had an ER trauma nurse walk out sick to her stomach.
Dang, reality check.
Nah, that's want to know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like the early stages of the internet when you could watch like stuff like that like so openly.
Yeah.
Like you could watch, bro. There was crazy stuff.
Like
on there.
like Middle East like,
yeah, like
terrorism
Middle East
stuff,
terrorism, like
right?
beheading stuff.
Yeah, there was this whole trend on TikTok where it was basically people saying like, "Hey, do you guys remember this from our childhood?"
Yeah,
And I wasn't really allowed on the internet a whole lot as a kid, so I am glad I missed it. But basically, they were saying like you could just go to YouTube and just see someone get.
No,
it.
yeah, no, it was a
Essentially.
war zone. No, they're because now they have like a crazy amount of like
Protection
censorship
of it, yeah.
and filtering, but it's literally like crazy.
Yeah, I remember it's
the
like
Wild West,
like yeah,
essentially,
like
right?
YouTube, Facebook, like you could just be scrolling like
Yeah.
normally, and you just see like
just right there.
person get their head chopped off. I'm like, bro, what?
No,
Yeah.
YouTube was crazy.
There was people saying there's like and then I had to go to elementary school like
Yo, yeah.
an hour later.
They were like we went to back to 6th grade the next day.
You're
I'm
just like
bro, this is
shaking in
crazy.
class, like.
Bro, I was terrified.
Yeah, I'm glad it's cleaned up a bit. But If you're listening to this and you have a story you want to send into the show, ygchronicles@gmail.com is where you can submit it. We are on Instagram, YG Chronicles. You can find us on TikTok as well. And then lastly, we have YouTube, like I mentioned, up and running. Subscribe, get our watch hours up. Yeah, that would be amazing. Pastor Cole, buddy, thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Youth Group Chronicles, and we will see all of you next week.